Do you need encouragement to turn tragedies into your own triumphant life story? If so, this podcast is for you. Listen to powerful guests who have persevered through challenges so you can gain strength to build your championship life. The host of Professor of Perseverance podcast, Dr. James Perdue.
Hey, come on again here. Come on, hop aboard. Come on. Let's do this thing called Find Perseverance so we can be able to move forward when the next thing comes in our life we're not ready for, we're not expecting, or maybe we even do know it's coming. Okay. But we're going to grab a little bit of nuggets, gold nuggets along the way in life that can help us push through those difficult times. All right. Today we're going to talk with and I'm glad we got him here. It's Lieutenant Colonel Jason Pike. He spent 31 years in military, and I'm thanking for his service. But according to him, he says that the Army investigated him, arrested him, and tried to break him. But Lieutenant Colonel Jason Pike is undoubtedly a soldier against all odds. And that would be the name of one of his books there, okay? And a decorated combat veteran with multiple deployments. Pike, or Lieutenant Colonel Jason Pike, has become a national bestseller author, sharing his journey, 3 powerful books. Welcome to the show here with us on the Professor of Perseverance podcast, Lieutenant Colonel Jason Pike.
Yes, Professor. You got it right. 31 years, five different countries, and 9 years were overseas. I started from the bottom. I started from the lowest level as a private, 17 years old when I was a junior in high school. So everything was from the bottom. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So, and I did my little thing when I turned 18, signed my little card, I guess you're supposed to sign it in case draft or whatever, but I never intended to go military style, which is kind of surprising. I mean, growing up, I got my share of fights and I didn't mind the fights, but for some reason I just wasn't a gun person and I just didn't feel like doing that. But I'm very thankful for you. Everybody has passed away, everybody today, and the people in the future that's going to serve in military. Because again, with me and my disability, being a quadriplegic in a wheelchair, it's because of y'all is why people like me are able to do this podcast with all this news technology, getting out in public, getting out in to see other people. I mean, I told people before, not that I want to be paralyzed, but I sure would rather be during this time of what we have than 50 years ago when people had nothing and they stayed in the house all the time. And so thank you for your service. And because a little bit of that somehow is, again, got it where it's easier for me in life.
You're welcome. I appreciate that. So, so I've got so many stories packed in, perseverance, a soldier against all odds. This shows the dirt and the struggle that I had. I was disabled. I still am disabled. Regarding reading and writing are my worst subjects. I failed the first grade. Around the first grade, around the second grade, I got an osteomyelitis in my knee and I dissolved the bone, but I kept on going. I kept on working through it. And I joined the military because I didn't think there was any other way, any other option, because college was out of the question, according to the experts.
Uh-huh.
And sports was out of the question. So I just figured the military might be the option to go with.
I tell you, my mom remarried, and this is the guy I consider my dad. He was in military. He passed away at 47 years old, really young, but he spent military a little bit, and thanked him for his time. And just here recently, this is a little jumping off the thing. My real dad never met him. Mom, they divorced before I was even 1 year old, and he was one of them dads that never sent a birthday card, never sent a Christmas card, never said anything to us, anything like that. But we did find out we have a half brother, and he's reached out here in the last 4 months. This half brother is, and so I finally this week reached back out to him to try to meet him because our dad, suppose he died when I was 12 anyway. So I don't want to miss out on meeting the brother. And he spent 21 years in military. So I definitely want to meet him to thank him for his service as well and everything. So, all right, Jason. So, you were, learning disability.
Yeah,
So it's a surprise that you were able to pass any test to get into military from that point.
that's
And
good question. Very good question. How did you, and I had a knee problem. How did you join? Because you got to be physically, you've got to be some sort of physical. Well, so I had academia. So I kind of slimed my way into the military, and it wasn't the normal. It was reserve force. I started in the National Guard. They used to call that the nasty girls,
uh-huh.
the no-go.
Okay.
They were a less than best force at the time, and I think they still are. And I got in that way. And once you're in, you're sort of in. So now I don't know how I passed the damn test. I think they just threw me in. I think they just said I probably failed it, and they just put me in. As far as the knee problem is concerned, I lied to the military. I lied and said physically I'm fine. I checked the box, and I got in that way. So. But once you're in, you're sort of in. And then from the reserves, I was able to go on to active duty. So those are two good questions. A lot of people don't answer, but that's how I got into the military. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see, of course, you're talking, long time ago, that they probably took anybody that was, again, you checked the box that you're physically fit and you probably looked physically fit. And they're probably going, we don't care if he's dumb as a stick.
Yeah.
We can teach him to do what we wanted him to learn in the military.
Yeah, they call it LLC, lame, lazy, and crazy. So they think anybody LLC, lame, lazy, and crazy. And but it's kind of gotten better. If I didn't go into the reserves, I probably wouldn't have gone. I probably wouldn't have passed the test and things. But I got in through the reserves, and then that's how it worked. Yeah.
And then got in the kind of the back doorway, huh?
Back doorway. Yeah. Oh yeah.
There you go. All right, now I'm just, again, I don't know what all to ask about military because I never served or anything, and I just thank people for their service. Now I'm all in for hearing these stories, though, and how you persevered through. I saw something about in a trench, with rat pooper and stuff like that crap, and getting out of that. I read of yours, and so I mean, I'm just amazed how people get through that and able to come out mentally straight.
Well, yeah. I do have post-traumatic stress, but it wasn't from those events. It was from something else. But, and you said arrested, investigated, and all that stuff. But the Army tried to kick me out 3 different times. I did say I have issues. I do have issues. I still got issues, but I was able to persevere through it. In the very beginning, between my junior and senior year, I was older than most people. I went to boot camp in the reserves, and they tried to kick me out. We'll get to the poop story in a minute, but they tried to kick me out that first time because I was not able to adapt. The water that was coming through the damn fire hose was too damn fast for me. And I did tell you I'm a slow learner. I'm a disabled learner, but in the military, you have to do things really fast. And I wasn't getting it. And they sent me to a criminal correctional facility where they put a different level of hell on you. It's kind of like a military brig. And I was only there for about a day or so. And what it is, it's hell on wheels at a higher level of basic training. And that sort of that almost broke me, but I stayed in, and the drill sergeant figured that he couldn't break me. So I was able to graduate basic training by the, skin of my skinny chin. And it was just barely getting through. And that was a hell of an achievement at the young age of 18. And I thought at that time, it was sort of a Jesus Christ event for me personally. I couldn't explain what happened, but I transformed in many ways from a civilian to a soldier. And I started thinking I can do much more in life after that. Yeah.
I believe that in most places in life, not just military. I think we're a lot stronger than we give ourselves credit for. And sometimes we don't feel how strong, we don't realize how strong we are until we're put in a situation that we don't think we can get out of. And when we do, we realize we are stronger and better than we were given credit for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you ever you ever broke a finger or arm or whatever, and the doctor says it grows back? It's going to grow back. It's going to grow back stronger. That's just the way things go. And that's what happened with me at a young age. And so I became more resilient, more stronger, not only because of the knee problems and the disability, but also just getting the confidence up to graduate Army school. So, and then going through all that hell and coming out feeling that I can do a lot more than than most people. They couldn't believe I wanted to be an officer, go to college, and do all these things that were in my mind. They said there's no way, but I did. I did a whole lot more than that. So, yeah.
Okay, so now what was they investigating you in? Of course, you talked about the arrest, but what were they investigating you for?
Yeah, so, that was later on down the road when I was already a senior person. That was a federal investigation of subversion, espionage against the U.S. government. You ever been in a situation where people just don't like you? You got a clique of people that you don't get along with for some reason or whatever.
Oh yeah.
In the military, we move around to different places. And even if you're senior, it doesn't matter what you've done. Sometimes you run into a situation where you just don't adapt well to the clique. And that's what happened. I was thrown under the bus. I was ghostlighted at a professional level. So the first event occurred was they're going to rumor. So I want to set the story up. If you're in the government or if you're in the military and you're accomplished, it's hard to get rid of you. You can transfer the person. You can create rumors. Let's create some false innuendo rumor stuff. That's how you kind of get people moved out or have them quit. And when I was at a station where they wanted to, first of all, they threw out rumors that I was a pedophile, that I loved children. And
okay.
Way. That went around the garrison. That was only a rumor. It didn't work. Once that didn't work, they did a different level of thing. That a year later, after that, at the same place, I went under federal charges of a spy against the U.S. government. And that's when that's when you had criminal investigation division coming in, military intelligence coming in, and they went through more of a formal investigation. So these things were worse than war. I went to war. I went to Afghanistan. I'm saying this was worse. This was the worst event. You're talking about the investigation. And why do they do that stuff? Well, I pissed some people off because I just didn't get along with. I was professional, but you sometimes you just don't mesh with the cliques. And that's basically what happened. I didn't do it, but it does damage you. It hurts you. That was more hurtful than any other event in my entire life. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see, again, just relating it back to the normal life. If you try to be the one to what's called rock the boat, don't want to follow what's going on. It's just amazing. I'm hearing this from you that I would have thought, like the police, the thin blue line. I would have thought there was a brother in arms thing. I'm surprised to hear it, but I'm not surprised to hear it. Again, if you don't follow somebody else's way that's ahead of you or somewhat, and now they're figuring you're a threat to them, and now they got to do something about it.
Yeah, and people are people, whether they're in the military, the police force, or whatever. Yes. They're just people. They have their little turf. You've got your little space, and if you don't walk the walk and play the game. I'm a Southern dude. I walked in there with my Southern manners, but I've always done that. I was a senior guy at the time, and it just didn't go along. I profess not to read and write as well, and do publications as well as some of the people that in the military, we do have to do some things, publications. And I wasn't in that route. I was more of an operational, but it was like differences, and you're walking on people's turf, and that's just what happened. And it was a hell of an experience. I mean, it was the worst hell that I've ever been through. And I put another book out there, and that's called A Toxic Workplace. A toxic workplace is if you're going to work and it's just hell on wheels, and your boss is toxic, they're narcissists. And it's more than an asshole boss. I got an entire book out. It's called Leading Through the Crossfire. And it's what to do in a wicked workplace, how to deal with it, and what to do in those situations. That's my latest book on that. I've got it in the first book a little bit, but I'll go more into it on my third book. But a lot of people go to work and they get sick because of the work, the bosses, and the environment that they're in. And so yeah, that's why I write that third book.
Yeah, I've interviewed maybe two people who talk about the toxic work and the bosses and everything like that. And it's a shame to me that some of them put up with it because they have to put up with it. They don't have another job to go to at that moment. They're afraid to stop working if they don't get another job, and so they have to learn to put up with it, which is sad.
Very sad. Very sad.
Yeah. So
I mean, for your own health, I advise, without reading the book, I would advise you try to transfer to another job. I know you're in hell, but if you're going to stay there, you're going to suffer, and it's going to be to your own detriment to suffer like that. You want to write things down, who, what, when, where, and why, and turn it in. Maybe get some other collaborators to write down the details over a period of time of this toxic environment. But that's very, very risky, because these people will find out who you are and they will come and get you or destroy you probably. But I do have an entire book on that, and a lot of veterans issues regarding toxic workplaces.
Yeah, that was one thing that the one of them suggested is document, and yeah, to open it up.
It's so hard to document when you're in hell. I mean, how can you? And if you can't, your emotions, you're in a survival state of mind, and so you may need some help and assistance on documenting everything. When we're over a period of time, it's not no bitch session for a week or two. You want to have a bitch session that falls out. Even good days, you want to write down the good days to show people who's reading this stuff that you're not lying, because the details are the truth.
Yeah. That's it. You can't just give up all the bad. You got to look like you're trying to be neutral and non-biased. Yeah, with that. So, all right, Jason, let's go back to, I want to hear about the first time they decided to send you overseas.
Oh yeah, that's South Korea. So the first time I went to I did 3 different tours.
Hey, I got a friend from South Korea. We met in high school. He came from South Korea, and even today we've graduated since 1983 and 41 years, and we're still friends.
Well, cool. I mean, I love Korean food. I eat it every day. I just ate it today. That's my favorite food now. I eat kimchi like it's going out of style. And yeah, but no, that first tour to South Korea opened my eyes to a lot of things. And I'm a lieutenant. I'm probably age 28. It was 1994. Yeah, 1994ish. And I'm going to my first overseas tour, and I'm hard charging, and I want to compete for this specialty badge. I'm not going to get it. It's an expert field medical badge. And one of the requirements of doing that is to go land navigation at night and day and many other things. But we have to, land navigation is finding your way through the woods and to find points on a military map and to find your way around in case you got lost. So you got to be able to read maps and compasses and things. Well, they dropped us off near the DMZ, the demilitarized zone of North and South Korea. I could hear the propaganda coming out. They had that at the time, propaganda coming out of North Korea. And we were just going around our waypoints individually at night, no flashlights. We're using the sky. We kind of got our ambient. And I was walking along this ditch, and I could smell that there was shit on the left side. I knew it was there. And I knew not to cross at that point. I had to get onto a rice paddy, and I knew that would not be the place to cross. But it's at night, and shit is slippery, and you can't see everything. And I slipped in some spillage, and I went down. Well, first of all, I hit my ass, and I slid down. You got to understand, I went into a ditch, and I had a lot of military equipment. I had my M16, I had my helmet, I had a backpack. And so I'm in like a quicksand shit material.
Yeah.
I'm going under, basically. I'm going under it. I can smell it. I'm up here. So this is, you've heard the situation up Chick Creek, or I'm in this. I was literally there though. This
without a paddle.
I was there without a paddle. Yeah. And I'm going. Yeah. And I felt that, at the time, I never had a family. I never had a daughter, or I never had, I'm thinking that can't be dying like this. Plus, Pike dies and poop is going to be the damn newspaper.
Yeah.
I'm even if I make it out, I'm going to be like the laughing stock of the entire damn garrison. So I say, oh my God. So I didn't know what to do. Well, what I did is I played around in the poop a little bit to try to figure out how to get out. And I angled up very, very slowly, 45-degree angles, and then I low crawled out. I finally got out. And when I got out, I rolled on my back, looked up at the stars, and I said, God, why do you put me in this shit? And I didn't know what to do at the time. Now I had another problem. I gotten out. I felt good for getting out, which was a slow process. But now I felt I need to get back to camp and not have anybody know about it. And we're not supposed to talk to the Koreans, but I do things against regulations sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I went off to a Korean farm family. I saw a light out there. I said, I'm going to go get help. I need to get washed up somehow.
Yeah.
Went out to the farm family, knocked on the door, stranger. I don't speak Korean, maybe hello. And knocked on the door, don't even know what. And the woman of the house, Ajima, comes and says, "Annyeonghaseyo, annyeonghaseyo." And I say, yeah. And she looks at me. I look at her. I'm like a mob of shit.
Oh, yeah.
She knows English is not necessary. It's an emergency situation here. And so she motions me to strip butt naked on her porch. And I do. And I give all my stuff except my weapon and my map and compass. I give everything to her, to a complete stranger. And she motions that she's going. I'm working off faith and adrenaline right now. I mean, she motions that she will find me the next morning, tomorrow, and give me everything clean. And I said, okay. And I walked back to camp butt naked, barefoot naked, making sure I don't, I don't run into any other soldiers trying to do their land navigation tests. And made it back. I cleaned up. She came back, gave me new equipment, everything all brand new the next morning. And I got away with two things. Two things went right that night. I got out of shit and I saved my face. Now, I failed the course, but I had to go back and get it another time. I got it.
Yeah.
Right. But that's the story of almost drowning in shit and getting out and then living to tell about it. And I couldn't, some things you can't really explain or know what happened until that story I just told you. It took me about 5 to 6 years to process and even tell it to anybody because it was just such a horrific event. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, no, I think it's amazing. I mean, I don't know everything about about trying to avoid the shit for the saving face with the other soldiers, but we go through shit in life, and we got to learn to deal with it as best as possible and move on. Yeah.
No, it's that really, as far as land navigation, we're just out there doing our skill. It's a soldier skill to be able to, land navigation, find your points in the woods and save, soldiers like to rag on each other. So I didn't want to have any of the ragging.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so that's,
I wouldn't want to be put into that one either.
I was concerned about a medical, because when you're in shit, you may get a disease or something. And
yeah.
I never got it. And if they found out, they would medevac me out. It would be a medical emergency because of all of the bacteria and things that are.
Yeah. They would have to want to get you sterilized and all cleaned up and everything and check for everything. Oh, yeah. My first year of teaching everything, had this one boy in class, and he pretty good, cool kid and everything. He was all right. And I taught 7th grade science. Last day of school, I don't know what prompted him, but he finished his exam and went out in the hallway, and the other people knew what he was going to do because they had circled him so no other teacher. See, all of a sudden he hollers my name and he moons me. He drops his pants and moons me. And I'm laughing, going, and I forgot his. Oh no, I'm not going to say his name. And I was like, and for them going, wait a minute, I can't let him get away with that, But like you said, the razz and the harass me. So by the time it got around school, all the other teachers heard about it. That day, I probably had 10 moon pies put in my teacher's mailbox. Everybody, every time I take it out, I come back, there's another one. I take it out, someone's put another one in there. So,
oh, wow, that's crazy. That's just what people are. And
not quite the same shit story, but we were in the same area, I guess, in that way. So now let me ask this question. I'm sure it's pretty stupid here, but you're out doing your navigation and everything in South Korea. Is there any way that you can get lost? Next thing you know, you're in North Korea, and
Well, they have,
then
yeah.
you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
now you're really in shit.
Yeah, so they have a barbed wire. They have various barbed wire fences. You got a series of fences. Plus, you've got guards up there. If they were to see you coming close to the DMZ, U.S. guards, they would
Yeah.
warn you off. There would be
Okay.
you couldn't get up there. You wouldn't be able to. You wouldn't be. There's no worry about doing that because
Okay. No, I mean, I wouldn't think anybody would do it on purpose, but I'm thinking I can see them wandering off because they're first now learning how to really do them out. And I'm sure they had training first, but then yeah. I was just wondering, the chance of wandering off like that.
No,
Okay.
you're fine. They make sure that we don't there's no way. Now I did hear propaganda at that time, like they would they'd have these loudspeakers that would come out saying, "Come to our side, North Korea. We're the land of milk and honey, and please, there's food. We have beautiful land." And it was it was over and over and over. And I don't think they have it anymore. But at that time, I remember all those boomers, those big, I don't know, the big loudspeakers and stuff out there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So now we've been in South Korea. Where we go after this?
Woo, we go to El
No,
Salvador.
I'm interested. I want to find out a little bit about this Afghanistan,
Well,
especially, and I want to find out your opinion. And I'm not trying to throw politically Biden and Trump and all that. I'm not trying to do it, but I do disagree with the way we handled Afghanistan, leaving all that military equipment behind for them to use.
we'll go to
Eventually against us, you know.
We'll go there. We'll go to Afghanistan. I was there for 1 year. Matter of fact, this shirt I've got on, my sergeant, it's called Combat Veteran, but my sergeant made it on the back. It says Afghanistan. But no, I was there for 1 year. It was 2011 to 2012 was when I was there. We prepared a whole lot. So even though you're a soldier, we go through extra preparations to go to the combat zone. And so a lot of training. And then once I got in there, it was like a third world shithole. I mean,
I can imagine. Yeah,
there is no way we were there. So understand, 2011, we'd already been there 10 years. And once I went, and we had to do something, I knew. I'm very surprised how it didn't fall before then. I'm surprised we didn't want to get out before then. We were trying to turn. Yeah. We weren't doing anything over there. We knew it. We could see it. It does, and then we were putting billions and billions of dollars in there. And I am surprised it lasted another 10 years after I left. Really, So on that side of the house, I thought, because I know that both Trump, Biden, and Obama, whatever, I know they wanted to be out of there. I know that. But sometimes when we get into a place, it's hard to get out. That's what I'm trying to set the story up. Is I know Trump wanted to get out. I know Obama wanted to get out, and I know whoever got. But I'm surprised we didn't get out any sooner. Now, I can't emphasize okay. So I know the terrain over there is wicked. Okay, to get things in and out and to move around you got the windstorms, you got the terrain, helicopters and things just can't move on a dime. And we built up over a long period of time, and there was like tons and tons of equipment and things over there. And if we were to, my thoughts is logistically to get things out of there is going to take years. It's not going to take months because it took years to get in. And you could possibly sign it over to the Afghanistans, but I don't know, politics. I wasn't there, but the politics at the time says we need to shut down. It reminded me of Vietnam. It reminded me a whole lot.
I've heard other people, Vietnam. Yeah,
we did that too. We just said the hell with it and gave it up. I think politically we were just exhausted and need to get the hell out of there. But I do know that a lot of stuff was wasted. But the amount of waste and money that was through those 20 years was already enormous.
Yes.
And we weren't doing anything. I mean, we could tell we weren't doing much at all. It's not only us, but the British, the Russians, anybody who's been into Afghanistan has failed in some way or another. When you look at history.
Yeah, a guy I coached with, Rick. We coached our girls basketball team. Hey, Rick, and we won that state championship one time. Remember? It's over here behind me right there. And but Rick, he was National Guard, and he got to go to Iraq for a year to go, to do his part there. And so, yeah, thank you, Rick, for your service as well. And again, it's to help make life easier for people like me. So, all right. So, all right. Yeah, I don't want to get in a lot of the political. I was just wondering. And then I didn't think about, I didn't know about how all the training, getting it in, it's going to be just as bad getting it out.
I can't.
Plus, it may have cost more money to get it back out than it was worth as well, too. Yeah.
Yeah. I would say we're going to turn to get it out there. To get it out of there is going to take tons. It's going to take a whole lot of time. It might take years to get it out. It may take more than a year. I'm not a logistician, but that's what. So for me personally, just to go from one place to the next took sometimes days or weeks. Just my body alone because of the weather, because of you just can't move all the time. There's and I'm thinking you're going to take these cities. We've literally built up tons and tons of base camps with equipment and machines and all kinds of material. Contractors, billions from different countries are over there, and it's just a lot of stuff over there. And I can't. It would be like a logistical nightmare to probably return stuff of that. Most of that stuff. And
I can imagine that. Yeah. So I was thinking about, like I said, the terrain and everything. I wasn't thinking of that. I was just thinking, just get it out of there. But now that you it more described what it's really like, and getting it there and getting it out. The wind storms and sandstorms and everything. Yeah.
I've been stranded out in the middle of no man's land with nobody able to get me because windstorms. And it's like, and I'm just and we've been there 10 years and they still can't come and get me. And I'm a lieutenant colonel. And so you're going to have to wait and wait. Some places are just not accessible. Sometimes just you have to go buy a car. Can't go. Even then, but then you can get shot too. But we're turning it over. Yeah. And we were losing. So the Taliban years and years ago, they were already infiltrating into the army, into the police force. They were doing that when I was there. That was 2011. We could see them. The reason we knew it is from intelligence, and they were just mean. They wanted to kill you, and they were inside the police force and the army as ghost people or as some sort of infiltrators and stuff. But it was going downhill when I was there 10 years ago, more than 10 years ago. Yeah.
I found out years ago now. I was in the hospital. I forgot why I was in the hospital, but one of the nurses I was talking with, somehow this boy's name come up, and I'd coached him in baseball when he was like 8 years old. And she was telling him he was one of those special forces people that's going in the middle of the night to grab people and get them out, And wow, that's amazing. People doing stuff like that.
Yeah, those you can tell they're dressed differently. They have different equipment. And I was only in special forces for a year, but I was a support person, but when I was over there, I was in the medical service support. But so those folks, the Delta, the special operators, you can tell they have a beard. Usually they have different equipment on them. They have specialized equipment. They have different weapon systems, and they look a little bit more fit than the average soldier.
Yeah. Wow. So. Okay. Now you'd mentioned earlier at that time, no wife, no daughter, anything like that. So eventually you found someone and got you a daughter.
I stayed single all the way up to about age 32, 33. And I did get married, and we went to a lot of the places, not Afghanistan, but to a lot of places around the world. We went to Korea together. We went to, Maryland, Virginia. And then I had a daughter. She's now 23 years of age. She graduated Texas A&M last year. And,
congratulations.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And she got paid. the post 9/11 GI Bill paid for that. I didn't have to pay for it. The government paid for that. So I got that one. So, and she comes in and out, and she kind of works from home or wherever. She's one of those teleworkers, works from home wherever. And and I still have my wife here in Texas, and we've been through the ups and downs of, and it's not for everybody, because a lot of people say the service members but family members have to go. They have to also be worried about where they take a hit too, and because they have to stay home wondering where is he going to next? Is he coming back alive? So the families also take a.
Oh, I can see that being real hard on a family life. Wherein, like you said, is he coming back this time? Is he coming back normal? Maybe he's coming back, but he may not be in the right spot mentally.
Yeah.
I mean, I could deal with not being able to walk and not being able to, I don't know, if I got an arm amputated, I could deal with, but mentally, if I wasn't, that would be hard for everybody.
I came back from Afghanistan. I was mentally off, and I don't really think it was Afghanistan. That's just when my wife identified that I had some post-traumatic stress. Yeah. And it was from that toxic work environment of another station that we talked about, the toxic, that's where it happened. Afghanistan just solidified it. What I'm saying is it manifested in Afghanistan because I had time to think about what happened in the toxic workplace that I was in before. And so that's just where it manifested from. And I came back. And, I was sort of like drinking all the time. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I wanted to stay alone. And I was really angry at every little thing. And so I had to go get therapy. I had to go through a series of counseling sessions and things of that nature. And eventually I started writing the book and putting it on paper and expressing the feelings of everything. It's the good, the bad, and the ugly of a soldier against all odds. And it really, of the 31 years, it was that toxic workplace that really hit me hard. There was a lot of other issues I had in the military that are sort of funny, like we talked about falling in shit and things of that nature. There's just so many. I was a less than best soldier trying to do the best. I was a Forrest Gump, if you've seen that movie.
Yeah, yeah.
So Forrest Gump and me have something in common. And we're both from the South. We both had knee issues as kids. Forrest Gump got over a knee issue, he had some sort of knee problem. And then he had sort of an intellectual problem. I had a learning problem, not as bad as Forrest Gump, but Forrest Gump did the best he could. I did the best I could. And that's kind of how that works. And but I was career. Forrest Gump was only there for about a year or two in Vietnam and got out, but I stayed in, causing all kind of fiascos and putting myself, but I will be honest with you and tell you where I screwed up at and where I didn't screw up at in this book of A Soldier Against All Odds.
Yeah. Give you a little advice when you're telling your comparison with you and Forrest Gump. Right when you end it, you need to go, that's all I'm going to say about that.
Life is a box of cherries or something like that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. So, all right, man, I'll tell you what, Jason, if nothing else, you have made my day just from your energy. Have you always been this fired up and motivated? Because I can see where you're able to slip into the Army early, National Guard early, because of your knee and the developmental, mentally, and because of your attitude, being so energetic and everything. I can see that they go, wow, this is the man we need right here.
Well, you just show up at the right time, maybe beforehand. Show up a little bit beforehand, because you may have some crosstalk. Right equipment, right. Even if you don't know a damn thing, right attitude. Have it right place, right time, right attitude. If you did that and you don't know a damn thing, you'll be doing better than most people. You'll be above 50 percentile. I'm always looking at the percentile because on the test I'm way down below the percentile. So as far as as a soldier, I'm just doing and you do the best you can. That's all the hell you can do. Because they'll see if you're trying to do your best. If you're not doing your best, then you've got all those other issues, then they might want to kick you out. And so that's, yeah, the energy and trying to do the best physically. I've always, every day I try to get up and do some walking with the dogs and go to the gym and things of that nature. I'm always trying to do more physically. That keeps my energy level up. I'm 59 years old, but I went to my high school reunion and I was looking pretty good. Yeah.
There you go. I can see your wife having to lasso you to calm you down a little bit. I can see that. So unless she's fired up there with you, so
No, she's
then
not.
I was gonna say then y'all are competing with each other then.
She
So
sleeps around and she's kind of just hangs out. I'm the one who's
I hear
thinking of
you.
all these other goals and what's my next book and what is this and what is that. So yeah.
Let me ask you about your first book because I interviewed a guy, Ken, Tuesday, and he said it took him 50 years to write his book.
Yeah.
He got his neck broke in a football game and Cornell University, and he first started because I was going to ask this when you talk about writing and everything. He first started writing as a just therapy to get stuff off his chest that he couldn't say to someone else because he didn't want them feeling sorry for him or feeling bad for him or whatever. So he started writing out, and he said, yeah, finally he got his book finally published last year. But he said it took him 50 years to get going. I told him it took me 12 years to finally get my first book out. One, like you, you said you failed first grade. I failed second grade, and I failed my sophomore of English. And so I had to take a sophomore in English and senior English the same year so I can graduate. And then here I am, Miss Bacon. Yes, ma'am. You know me. I've met with Miss Bacon that she was my English teacher and I've given her my first book and everything like that. So she's a good woman as well. So, but I was gonna say, was that first you think it as a form of therapy, or are you just going, I got a lot of shit that I need to tell people. Yeah. I need to get out and help and motivate them.
Yeah, it was therapy. I was writing it down. I was talking it out with therapists. That was in the beginning. And then I said, you know what? I don't know what to do with all this stuff. And so I hired a ghostwriter, a professional storyteller. So I was able to hire, and then I didn't have a job, so I could focus. I focused entirely for about 3 years with a professional, like someone who's a ghostwriter. A ghostwriter is someone who helps you along, and you hire them to professionally put this thing out. And that's what we did. And I got it out. I got it out in 3 years, but before 3 years, I had a whole lot of it written up, but I had to get someone help. I had to get help. There's no way I could have done it by myself.
Yeah.
I'm going to take another 40 years until I'm 90 years old, but I wanted to get it out and talk about it. But that's how that first. So once I got the first book out and I did the first book, that was a hell of achievement. And then from there, I'm thinking I had the same ghostwriter, so I knew the process. And so other books are easier than the first book. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Jason. Hey, we're down to our end here, and I appreciate you coming aboard. Again, I just loved your enthusiasm, and from there, it's got me fired up to get through today. So go ahead and tell people again through your books and your website. They can find it, and everything's, I'm sure, on Amazon is where it is for everybody.
Things on Amazon, like everything else. You can go to my website, jasonpike.org, jasonpike.org. And so that you'll find the blogs, you'll find the books there, all the inspirational messages. And my 3 books are out. The second book is going to be about veterans benefits. It's out of the uniform back into civilian life. This is if you're a veteran or a family member of a veteran. There's a lot of things. I know that you're disabled. There's a lot of things out there. A lot of people don't know about disabled people. But if you're a disabled veteran, there's a whole lot of resources that you've got. And then if you're in that toxic work environment, I've got Leading Through the Crossfire. And you're not alone in your toxic, wicked workplace. There's a lot of other people and what to do in that situation. But jasonpike.org, everything's out there on Amazon. And if you don't know what to do and you're a young person, show up at the right place, right time, and the right attitude, and you'll be doing better than most. That's my spiel, jasonpike.org. Yeah.
Hey, Jason, thank you again for being here, getting us all fired up today. So everybody else, remember to grab that little piece of nugget you can use and share it with someone else to help them. Big believer on paying it forward. Because one of these days, just think 100 years from now, someone's going to do something that you suggested 100 years from now because you paid it forward. So, all right, Jason, thank you for being here, and everybody else. Be sure to share it with someone else you think that can help. And be sure to go look up Jason Pike. And again, I'll put his books and the website into the show notes to help you find them easier. And so share with someone else coming close to this Christmas time. Buy you a book or two and share it to make good Christmas gifts. So thank you, everybody. I'm Dr. James Perdue, the professor of perseverance. Do something today, tomorrow, something next week that's going to help you persevere past your paralysis.